My brothers and sisters, you are now watching The Gamer 2323, so just forget about the chores you're supposed to do. Put your feet up, get your Kool-Aid, fried chicken, popcorn, get whatever you may need. And I hope you enjoy the video.
I'm still trying to process if what I seen in that episode actually happened. Son, when I tell you, just like I said on Twitter, man, because like during these episodes, I'm always like talking to people on Twitter about it. AMC literally has no chill this season. Like literally every episode has been like. Every episode has been its own finale. Like, there's 3 episodes into season 6, and every single episode has been going from 0 to 100. Like, it's like when you think, you would have like a kind of slow down, wind down episode, nah. Like, every episode has been going 100 miles per hour, and I'm just like, are y'all trying to chill this season or no? So, man, oh man, oh man. There is so much debate about this past episode of The Walking Dead, man. So much stuff went down, and this was like really one of those episodes that kind of caught you off guard because it was non-stop chaos. But then what happened at the end? We'll just talk about that later. So, this episode was called, what was this episode called? Ah, yes. This episode was called, as Nicholas would say, thank you. Just when I was about to give that sucker another chance, you know what, I'm gonna get into that later. So, again, these episodes have been going like 100 miles per hour, bro, like nonstop. When you think you're about to have a wind down episode, AMC is like, nah, fam. They just keep on going like freaking action-packed episodes. So the beginning of this episode, Rick, Glenn, Michonne, Daryl, and some people from Alexandria are still trying to, do the plan that they had. But when the horn went off, I'd say like a good half of that herd of walkers in the line, like broke free and started going in their own direction. So they're kind of being chased by a herd of walkers right now, and it's chaos. And Rick, he tells his people, and again, like some people think like Rick is completely gone. Like I don't think that Rick is still Rick. It's just that everything Rick has been through, he has to be on edge. Like, you can see why Rick is the way he is, because it's like he every time he kind of softens up and breathes, that's when like the bad stuff starts to happen. So Rick is just like that, but you kind of get the impression that, Rick doesn't really care about the noobs at Alexandria because he tells Glenn and Michonne, listen, if things go sour, you can try to help these people. But if things go sour and you can't, so be it. Just make sure you get back. So, you get the impression that Rick, he's just caring about his people, the group that he's been with. And whatever happens to these freaking casuals at Alexandria, so be it, And one of the guys, I think it was Heath that heard Rick say that, and he's kind of on guard from that point forward, so he doesn't really trust Rick, he doesn't really trust Michonne, he doesn't really trust Glenn and stuff like that. So yeah, that happens, and go back to Daryl, Sasha, and Abraham. They're still on the highway with what's left of the herd of walkers. They still have like a good amount of walkers, that they're trying to lead out. And I think Sasha tells Daryl to like stay with them and to try to just finish what's left of the herd of walkers. And I forgot what happens, but Daryl, I guess he doesn't agree with the plan or something. I think gunshots went off. And again, while Alexandria is being attacked, this is all going down, with, Rick and the group. So there is still that time skip there. So I think they hear gunshots going in the direction of, Alexandria. And then I think Daryl decides to go in that direction instead of staying with Sasha and stuff and trying to lead out what's left of the walkers. I think that's what went down. So Daryl, he does not like the plan, and he decides to do his own thing, and I think going towards the direction of where he heard the gunshots going off. But again, this episode was crazy. Like, there was no slowing down. Like, it was like walkers everywhere, and like some people from Alexandria definitely died, so I think there was a whole bunch of deaths actually, so one walker snuck up on this guy and was starting to bite out his throat, and Rick seen it, he just killed him, because what you gonna do? So it was chaos, man. It was complete chaos. This episode was just going so fast. The herd that broke free from the line, they're starting to catch up to, Rick and Michonne and Glenn and stuff. So, Rick tells Glenn, I think, that he's going to, he said he's going to do something. I can't remember, but Rick decides to go on by himself. And then Glenn is left with Nicholas and Michonne is left with some people from Alexandria. So let's go to Michonne. So Michonne and the people that she's with, the herd is really starting to catch up to them, and they get stuck in this store, I guess, and she's with Heath. And Michonne, she kind of gets the vibes that Heath doesn't really like Michonne or something, so she decides to talk to Heath about it. And then Heath says, listen, I heard what Rick said, that if we get in trouble, y'all if we get in trouble, y'all just going to dip on us, so Michonne was trying to tell Heath, listen, that's not who we are, that's not who Rick is. And she was trying to tell Heath why Rick is the way he is, and Heath, Heath was not trying to hear. He's like, listen, we don't do that. We don't leave people behind. And then Michonne just had to straight up tell the dude, listen, you have not been out there the way we've been out there. You have not been out there the way Rick has been out there, okay? Until if the blood that's all on your body is your blood or your friend's blood or Walker blood, then you have not been out there the way we've been out there. So she had to go preach mode on this man Heath, because he doesn't trust him, so I did like that. I did like that a scene between those two. There was so much stuff that went down. I just had to write down the stuff that I remember. So she tells Heath that, and and then eventually Heath, he decides to drop the topic. But again, the herd is right on them. So you can see all the walkers outside, and they're inside, this small, inside this small store. One of the people, they get shot, I think, in the leg, so he has to be helped to move. So things are not looking too good. And it really just looks like Michonne is the only person there that can hold her own. It's just it's Michonne and the freaking bait. It's Michonne and the freaking five dwarfs, because I think she was with 5 people, so things are not looking good for nobody right now, and they decide that they have to leave the store because they are about to get cornered by these walkers. So they decide to leave. Chaos is breaking through. The walkers are outside, I think. And did y'all catch y'all catch this? It seemed like where Michonne and, the rest of the people were, it seemed like they were in the same place to where Morgan was in season 3 in the Clear episode. It looked like the same place, the same buildings, the same street. Yeah, so when I saw that, I was like, are they in the same place where Morgan was back in season 3. So I don't know. I'm not sure about that, but it definitely looked like that. So, but they have to leave the store. It's chaos going on. Walkers are everywhere. Michonne is trying to do her best with these freaking casuals from Alexandria, but it is just not looking good. One guy is shot in the leg. I think one of the girls, she's like, she trips. She trips, and these walkers just feast. They just start feasting on her, and another guy, he got bit on the back. And it's just like, it's like some of these people from Alexandria, they have no awareness whatsoever. It's just like, they'll just be talking and just let a walker just like bite their freaking throat. I'm just like, can you be more aware? It's like awareness is at a 0 right now for these suckers, so it's just like, Michonne is literally babysitting these suckers, so, but it's chaos, man. So that goes down. One of the guys, he gets bit on the back, and he decides to, write this death letter, to his wife before he dies, and Michonne is trying to tell them that, listen, you guys are going to make it back. She most likely knows that's not going to happen, but she says that, to just keep them going, to keep the morale up, so, it's just chaos going on with them, go back to Rick. Rick, again, he's doing his own thing, he's killing walkers and stuff, and I guess he cuts his hand, like, real bad or something, because like, he keeps on looking at his hand, because I think when he went to, kill one of the walkers with, his machete, I guess it kind of hit his hand or something, so, and if you guys read the comics, Rick only has one hand. So I don't think they're going to do that, because I remember Kirkman saying that's one of the things he regrets doing to Rick in the comics is actually cutting off his hand, but it just kind of reminded me of that, Rick now has like a hurt hand. He's looking at it and stuff, and I'm just like, who knows? But, so again, Rick is doing his own thing, and he's in this, he's in this, RV, and he gets ambushed. And I'm skipping a lot, but he gets ambushed by these two wolves. Now, mind you, these were the wolves that Morgan let go back at Alexandria, and that's why they're going to clash, because Rick is in a completely different state than Morgan right now. And by the way, the next episode will be a flashback of Morgan, how he got to the point that he's at now. But Morgan has, this mindset to where he's like, all life is precious, Daryl. So, and Rick, he's completely like, protect our own, forget everybody, forget whoever else out there, and eliminate the threat, so the same wolves that that Morgan let go and he had the chance to kill, tried to take out Rick. And the way this episode was going, I thought that they were going to actually capture Rick and like take him back wherever, because it was like, you don't know what's going to happen. But Rick, being the freaking boss that he is, he took out both of these guys, and he sees some more outside, through the mirror, and he starts to shoot, through the RV, and so Rick is not even in a good position right now. No one really is. Freaking Michonne and her dwarfs are like getting dropped, by the number. Sasha and Abraham is just like, what are we supposed to do? Daryl left us, Rick, he's like all by himself. And now we have to go to Glenn and Nicholas, man. So yeah, all that went down. I mean, there was so much stuff that went down, and I'm not trying to say freaking everything, but freak it. So, oh yeah, but when Rick took down those two wolves, he sees on one of the guy that he has a can of baby food. And, when Rick sees that, I guess it kind of reminds him of a Judith, and you can see the expression on his face is like, oh no. Like, so, I don't know, when, he's seen that can of, food, he was like, and now Rick is like, he's really starting to, panic. But, to Nicholas and Glenn. So this is where the debate starts. Alright, so again, no one really is doing well. People are dying in this episode, period. So, but again, it was so weird because even though what Nicholas did to Noah, and even when he tried to kill Glenn last season, I was like, Glenn, please kill this guy. But you have to remember, since this series has started, Glenn has not killed one person. When Glenn has had the chance to kill somebody, he has never killed, I can't remember one scene to where Glenn actually killed a human being himself. I can't remember. Maybe at Terminus, but I can't really recall actually seeing Glenn kill somebody. Glenn will kill walkers, but when it comes to actually killing a human, he can't do it, So, but Glenn is with, Nicholas. And again, I was starting to like Nicholas. I don't know, just because even though what he did, I don't know, I just liked the relationship that he had with Glenn. And, it just kind of started to seem like that you can trust him more and more and more. But in this episode, when things would go bad, you would see like, Nicholas like zone out. And it's just like you could not get this man's attention because he would just like start to freak out. I don't know what he would be. I don't know what he was thinking, but you would just see him like zone out, So Glenn and Nicholas, they're trying to do something, and they come across a walker, and this was one of the walkers that Nicholas knew, but he left behind, I guess. And, you can see that it starts to get to, Nicholas, and like Glenn tells him, listen, that's not the person that you are no more. This is a new guy, So Glenn, Glenn is nice, man. Glenn can do, Glenn is that, Glenn is that dude, but he's not a Rick yet. Glenn still has that humanity attached to him. He can't just, drop people off, so, maybe to his weakness. But, so this is chaos, man. Chaos. Michonne and, the people that she's with, they get cornered, cause they reach this, gate, in this, alley. And, Michonne and the people that she's with, they get cornered by this herd of walkers. The herd of walkers have caught up to them. And, the guy that was writing the death note to his wife, he didn't make it, they, caught him while he was trying to climb the fence. They said, nah, they started feasting on this guy. There's nothing you could do for him at this point because they can't get to him. There's so many walkers on the other side of the fence, they can't get to him, so they just have to leave him. Going back to Glenn and Nicholas. Now, man. Listen, well, let me just talk about it, okay? So, Nicholas and Glenn, they're getting cornered as well. Walkers are everywhere, man. They're everywhere. And they're about to climb the fence, but they literally can't because on the other side of the fence, there's more walkers. So, Glenn and Nicholas, it don't look too good for them. Like, they are cornered. There's walkers on one side, walkers on another side. They're getting cornered. And I'm just like, son, is this really the death of Glenn? And like, so they just pull out their guns and start shooting all the walkers they can. And of course they run out of ammo. So it's just like, son, are they really about to kill? Nah, they ain't gonna kill Glenn. Nah, ain't no way. Alright. So it's not looking good for them. So they're getting cornered by literally hundreds of walkers. So they decide to get on this dumpster. And again, Nicholas would have these moments to where when things got bad, you would just see this guy zone out. He was just like, and it's like, Glenn is like looking at this guy like, Nicholas! And it was like, he couldn't get his attention. This man, Nicholas, was gone. He was just looking at all the walkers, and you could just see the terror in his face. And meanwhile, Glenn is trying to get his attention the whole time, like, sucker! Dude, so it was just like, dude was gone. You know, so I'm just like, what the freak is about to happen? I honestly thought for the first time, Nicholas was actually, I was thinking Nicholas was actually going to betray Glenn yet again and try to push him into the walkers while he can get away, you know, because they're distracted. I was like, Nicholas? You gonna do, fam? You know, but nah. I mean, so they're both on the dumpster. They're freaking cornered. Like, they can't go nowhere. Rick can't go nowhere because after he killed the wolves, you know, the shots going off attracted walkers. So now his RV is like completely surrounded by walkers. So no one is in a good, you know, state right now. But Glenn and Nicholas, so they're on top of this dumpster. Nicholas is gone, you know, and you can just see him look at Glenn, and he just looks gone. He looks like, it looked like dude was high. Like, just gone, dude. It was like, when things got bad, dude just spaced out. And you could just see him just look at, you could see him look at Glenn, and the way they shot this scene, you could tell something was about to happen because they had it like on Glenn's face. And then they went to Nicholas, and Nicholas was just like, thank you. Shot himself. Committed suicide, bruh. Now, I just thought he was gonna fall into the herd of walkers. I don't know if when he shot himself, he fell into Glenn or Glenn tried to catch him, but Glenn was holding on to him and they both fell in the freaking herd of walkers. Now, cue the freaking debate. So you have a lot of people actually saying Glenn's not dead. There's no way he's dead, okay? Because they're saying that when he fell, Nicholas fell on top of Glenn, and Glenn is using Nicholas as a shield, and all of those walkers are just feasting on Nicholas. Okay, let's say that's true. Let's for right now say that's true. They are surrounded by walkers. Once they're done with Nicholas, guess who's next on the menu? Like, and people were saying that no. He used Nicholas as a shield, and then he crawled underneath the dumpster. To me, it didn't even look like that dumpster was too high off the ground. It didn't look like you could climb. I mean, it didn't look like you could crawl underneath that dumpster because it didn't look too high off the ground to begin with. There's walkers literally every angle. Do I want Glenn to die? No. Okay? But you mean to tell me that Glenn just used Nicholas as a shield and all of those walkers are going to completely ignore Glenn? And they were saying, no. Like, people trying to come up with every reason. No. See, when they were biting into Nicholas, Glenn actually took the guts from the walkers and like put himself in. And I'm like, how can Glenn do all this so fast? Listen, I love Glenn, man, and that completely caught me off guard. I'm like, are they really about to kill Glenn? But it is, what I will say, it is still up in the air because, you know, in this show, no one is dead unless you see on camera that they are dead or they're getting bitten into. The way they shot that scene, it is still up in the air if Glenn is dead or not. But in the circumstance that he was in, I am like 90% sure that this man Glenn is dead, dude. Like, he's dead. How can he make it out of that? And it wouldn't shock me if somehow he does come back, because if y'all remember last season, that part where Tyrese was surrounded by walkers, literally walkers around Tyrese, and all he had was a freaking axe or whatever. He was just going like this. It's just like, Tyrese is dead. He made it from from that part. So if Glenn does make it, it wouldn't be the first time to where someone was supposed to die and they did it, because Tyrese in that scene, that man should have been Thanksgiving dinner, but somehow he made it. But I just don't see Glenn making it. Like, even if they were biting into Nicholas and Glenn is using him as a shield, he's next. Where can he go? Walkers are literally surrounding them and he's right in the middle. He's like a freaking needle in a haystack and all of the hay is the walkers and he's the needle. Where's he going? How, Sway? Like, literally, where is this man? I don't know. I mean, it still is up in the air, but I don't know, man. Me personally, I think Glenn is dead. And on Talking Dead, Scott Gimple said something like we will see Glenn again. It could be in a flashback or a different version, meaning meaning a walker. We're going to see Glenn as a walker, but he never said Glenn is still alive. Scott Gimple himself said we're going to see Glenn again, but it's going to be in like a flashback or a different version of Glenn. That's what the man said himself, but again, when they show, during the Talking Dead, they always show all the deaths in that episode and they didn't show Glenn. So, it is still up in the air if Glenn is dead or not, but listen, that I just don't see Glenn making it. I don't, even if that theory is true where he's using Nicholas as a shield, there's nowhere for this guy to go. Don't tell me he freaking crawled underneath the dumpster. It's not that high off the ground. And walkers are literally all around this freaking guy. So I don't know. But man, do I hate Nicholas. Well, to be honest, it wasn't Nicholas. I don't know. It's not like he betrayed Glenn. It's just like Nicholas was like, we are not making it out of this, and I am not about to freaking die that way. Because to die by getting eaten alive by walkers the same way that Noah did, you don't want to go out that way. So he thought there's no way we're going, that we're going to make it out of this. Peace out, Glenn. And he shot himself. Now, I don't know how Glenn fell in there with him, but that's what happened, man. But people can't stand Nicholas right now, but it doesn't matter. He's no longer in the show. But is Glenn dead? You guys leave it down in the comments below. What do you guys think? Is Glenn dead? Yes or no? Is Glenn dead? I'm 90% sure Glenn is dead. And they did show, the people that saying Glenn is not dead, they did show a picture of a Glenn with Rick and this new character coming. I think his name is Jesus or Jesus, or however you want to pronounce that name. But I personally think Glenn's dead, bro. Glenn is done, and Glenn was one of the OG members. Like, Glenn has been in this show since season 1. There's not a lot of OG members left. You got Rick, you have Daryl, and you have Carl. That's it. Those are the only OG members when this show first started that is still alive, bro. And it's crazy, man. And if Maggie finds out Glenn is dead, I want to see how she reacts. I want to see how Daryl reacts, Carol, everybody. Because Glenn, that loss is huge if Glenn did indeed die. But again, they saw him in a freaking picture with Jesus or Jesus, whatever, So I don't know. It is still up in the air, but that man's dead. That's what I think. But if he does survive, it wouldn't be the first time, because Tyrese was supposed to die in that scene, but he survived. But anyways, I thought this episode was freaking great. I honestly thought episode 3 was the best episode thus far. This season 6, this has been the best start to The Walking Dead in a while. I thought last season, the opener to last season, was freaking great. I don't think even this season's first episode was better than last season's, but I'm just saying, going from episode to episode to episode, Right now, this season is one of the best seasons I've seen. Because it's not slowing down at all, bro. You don't know what's going to happen next. Nobody is safe. But anyways, bro, I'm done talking, bro. I literally spent like most of the time just talking about this debate of freaking Glenn. But it's crazy, man, because there's so much questions. Is he dead or not? What? I don't know. I think that man's dead. Anyways, though, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Catch y'all in my next one. Suckers. Peace.